The NBA is turning on LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball, the human highlight reel, nutmegging defenders in preseason, dropping 30-foot alley-oops, and pulling up from half court like he's Steph Curry's long-lost twin. You'd think the league would love that, right? Nope, because while fans are going crazy for the mixtapes, the entire NBA is quietly rolling its eyes. Coaches, scouts, executives, they're all saying the same thing. Yeah, he's flashy. He's also a loser. Ouch. This is the story of how the league turned on LaMelo Ball, the guy who was supposed to save the Hornets, and why some people in the NBA think he'll never be the face of a winning team. But before you start spamming hater in the comments, listen. There's one man who still believes. And no, it's not that man. Not the one yelling about big baller brands and never lost. I'm talking about Zach Lowe. The Zach Lowe, one of the most respected names in NBA media. And when he says there's still hope for LaMelo, it means something. Because this story isn't just about one player getting hated on. It's about a pattern the NBA can't seem to quit. We build up young stars, shower them with hype, and the moment they don't deliver a ring in 3 years, we tear them down. So today, we're breaking down why the league's losing faith in LaMelo, what part of his game drives coaches insane, and what it'll actually take for him to flip the narrative and prove everyone wrong. Let's get into it. Section 1. Why everyone's turning on LaMelo Ball. Last season, LaMelo Ball was #1 in all-star fan voting among Eastern Conference guards. #1. The fans said, "We want LaMelo," and the coaches and media said, "Cute story." But nah, he didn't even make the all-star team. That's how much the league doesn't respect him right now. They're not even pretending to like him. Fast forward to this preseason. LaMelo's out here looking like he's auditioning for a Steph Curry TikTok reel. No-look passes, one-footed threes, alley-oops from the logo. Fans loving it. Other players probably bookmarking it for when they drop 40 on Charlotte. Because around the league, the narrative has shifted from future superstar to fun highlight guy who doesn't win. And the numbers don't help. 6 seasons in, Charlotte's never finished higher than a 10 seed. They haven't sniffed the playoffs once. Every year it's the same storyline. This is the year the Hornets break through, and then they don't. So now the question isn't when are the Hornets gonna win. It's can they ever win with LaMelo as their best player? According to ESPN's Tim McMahon, LaMelo is a mega talent, but not the face of a winning franchise. And here's the crazy part. That's not even a hot take anymore. Ask around the league, and you'll hear the same thing over and over. Great handles, great vision, but you can't build a team around him. ESPN ranked him 63rd overall this season, behind Christian Braun and Jalen Suggs. 63. That's not just disrespect, that's a public humiliation. He's not even in the same conversation as Darius Garland or Tyrese Halliburton anymore. And look, you can say the media hates him or the Hornets suck, both true. But there are reasons people are out on him. 3 big ones, actually. And even LaMelo's biggest fans can't deny the first one. Section 2. The real problem, Charlotte. All right, before we start roasting LaMelo's game, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the Charlotte Hornets. Because honestly, this team has been allergic to success for 2 decades. If there's a way to stay mid, Charlotte will find it. They've never made a conference finals, they've missed the playoffs 9 straight years. And every season, it's the same. A little hope, a lot of disappointment, repeat. You know how people say some franchises are where careers go to die? Yeah, that's Charlotte. You get drafted there, you start hearing the funeral music. It's not even a new problem. This team has never had a true superstar. Not once. They had Kemba Walker, he carried them as far as one man possibly could, and then dipped. So now it's LaMelo's turn to be the guy. Except here's the issue. Who's he even supposed to be passing to? Gordon Hayward's constantly injured. Miles Bridges, well, you know. And the rest of the roster is basically a 2K My Career bench unit. How's a point guard supposed to look like a winner when his best option is PJ Washington on an island? Zach Lowe, again the most level-headed dude in sports media, says it best. A lot of LaMelo's worst habits come from desperation. The bad shots, the risky passes, the hero ball moments, it's because no one else is doing anything. Imagine you're running a fast break and your teammate forgets what a basketball is. Yeah, you're probably jacking that shot too. So while the haters are yelling selfish, the truth might be this. Charlotte's never built a real team around him. He's been playing rec league ball in the NBA. And that kind of environment doesn't just stunt your record, it stunts your growth. Because when you're the only one who can create, you start thinking you have to do everything, even the dumb stuff. But okay, enough about the Hornets' incompetence. Let's actually break down LaMelo himself. What's real, what's hype, and what's driving coaches crazy. Section 3, his game. The good, the bad, and the dumb. All right, so let's be fair. LaMelo Ball isn't just good, he's insanely talented. There are moments where you watch him and think, oh, yeah, that's a future MVP. Then, there are moments you want to throw your remote through the TV. Let's start with the good. When LaMelo's hot, it's electric. He's hitting logo threes with zero hesitation, no dribble rhythm. Just pull up and pray, and it works. Last season, he took more threes than anyone in the league, 11.2 per game. Sure, only 34% went in, but let's be honest, most of them were shots no one else on earth would dare to take. When he's locked in, it's Steph-like. One-footed fadeaways, step backs from 28 feet, completely unguardable when he's feeling it. He's got the green light because his confidence is radioactive. It powers everything he does, and it's not just shooting. That floater game, elite. He averaged 4 floaters a game on 48% efficiency, second only to Trae Young in both volume and accuracy. He's got that stop-on-a-dime control, puts defenders in jail, rises up, and boom! Soft touch, easy too. Then there's his passing. This is what separates him from most guards. He doesn't just see the floor, he sees the future. It's like he's watching the game in slow motion while everyone else is buffering. He'll come off a pick and roll, glance left for half a second, and whip a left-handed dime through 3 defenders. Perfect timing, perfect angle. Highlight reel every time. There are maybe 5 guys in the league who can do that, and LaMelo's one of them. So yeah, that's the good. Now let's talk about why coaches lose sleep watching him. The bad. That same confidence that makes him special also makes him ridiculous. He'll pull up from 30 feet early in the shot clock with 2 teammates wide open. Like, bro, it's a tie game in the second quarter, maybe chill. It's the difference between Steph and LaMelo. Steph's chaos has logic behind it. LaMelo's sometimes just chaos. Example, defender gambles for a steal. Instead of attacking the open lane, LaMelo just launches an off-balance 3 like he's testing gravity. That's not confidence, that's caffeine. Then there's the rim pressure, or lack of it. For a 6'7" guard, LaMelo barely gets to the line. 5 free throws per game. Total waste of his size and athleticism. He avoids contact like it's the flu. You see him come off a screen, wide open lane, and instead of attacking the big, drawing a foul, maybe a dunk, he picks up his dribble early and goes for a weird spinning floater. It's like he's allergic to paint. That's the frustrating part. He has the tools to be unstoppable. Long, smooth, great footwork, great handle. But for some reason, he'd rather finesse than finish. And that's what drives coaches insane. Because the difference between highlight players and winning players is those little choices. And right now, LaMelo's choices, they look more like mixtape auditions than championship habits. Section 4, defense, effort, and focus. Let's be honest, LaMelo's defense is the part of his game no one wants to talk about, because there's not much to celebrate. He's 6'7" with wings for arms. He should at least be average. But too often, he plays like defense is something that happens to other people. One play, he jumps a passing lane, grabs a steal, fires a full-court dime, chef's kiss stuff. Next play, he's staring at the ball while his man cuts behind him for a layup. Same quarter, 2 different players. Screens, he treats them like traffic, just lets them pass. Top guards see that space and torch Charlotte's backline. And the gambling, good grief. LaMelo will lunge for a 5% steal chance, miss, and suddenly it's a 3-on-1. Highlight or disaster, no middle ground. What makes it frustrating is that focus is all that's missing. The length, quickness, and instincts are there. The effort just flickers on and off like bad Wi-Fi. But context matters. It's hard to stay locked in when you're down 20 by halftime every other night. Charlotte hasn't exactly built a culture that screams defensive accountability. There's no Draymond, no Jimmy Butler, no one demanding intensity. So yeah, the film looks ugly, but it's not entirely a LaMelo problem. It's a losing environment problem that's turned bad habits into permanent ones. Until that changes, you'll keep seeing the same thing. Huge offensive flashes, careless defense, and the same empty box scores. Section 5, is it really his fault? So here's the question everyone keeps skipping. Is LaMelo actually the problem, or is he just the scapegoat for a franchise stuck in quicksand? Because let's be real, Charlotte hasn't given him much to work with. They've drafted poorly, signed mid-tier veterans, and switched coaches like they're swapping playlists. Every season starts with, we're building something, and by January it's, well, maybe next year. Zach Lowe, who's about as fair-minded as it gets, argues that a lot of LaMelo's worst habits are situational. Bad shot selection? That's what happens when your teammates can't finish. Risky passes? That's what happens when no one cuts. Hero ball? Try watching everyone else stand still for 15 seconds and tell me you wouldn't pull from 30 feet. It's easy to criticize him from the outside, but put yourself in his shoes. You're 24. The team's been losing since you arrived, and the arena's half full most nights. At some point, the only thing left to play for is your own highlight reel. And this isn't new. Plenty of stars looked like stat-chasing losers before the right system saved them. Devin Booker was empty calories until Chris Paul showed up. Trae Young was uncoachable until he had a playoff run. Culture changes everything. Right now, Charlotte isn't that culture. No veteran voice to keep him accountable. No structure that rewards good habits over cool ones. So of course, LaMelo leans into the flair. It's what the franchise sells. Does that excuse the lazy defense or the early clock heaves? No, but it explains why they happen. He's been asked to carry a hopeless team while pretending it's fun. And until someone in Charlotte decides winning matters more than vibes, the league will keep confusing bad habits with bad player. LaMelo deserves criticism, but he also deserves context. Section 6, how Steph and Giannis chase their narratives. Every great player hits a crossroads, that moment when talent alone stops being enough. LaMelo's standing right there. And guess who's been in those shoes? Steph Curry and Giannis Antetokounmpo, two guys the league once doubted just as hard. Back in 2013, people said Steph was too small, too fragile, not a winning point guard. Sound familiar? Ankles made of glass, team stuck in mediocrity, same script, different actor. Then Steph rebuilt his body, embraced Steve Kerr's ball movement system, and dropped his ego. Result? A dynasty. He stopped chasing highlights and started chasing wins. Giannis had the same reputation, unstoppable until you build a wall. Regular season monster, playoff collapse. So what did he do? He locked himself in the gym, fixed his free throws, learned to finish through contact, and came back with a 50-point finals closeout. Critics went silent overnight. What changed for both? Not talent, mindset. They cared more about banners than brand. They turned hate into fuel instead of validation. And that's the exact playbook LaMelo needs. It's not about adding a new dribble move or logo 3. It's about maturity. The willingness to sacrifice personal flair for team flow, to let go of the vibes and build habits that win ugly games in February. If he can do that, stay healthy, lock in defensively, embrace a structure, the narrative flips fast. Because history shows the league loves a redemption arc even more than a mixtape. Section 7, the crossroads. So here we are, LaMelo Ball, 24 years old, highlight god, lightning rod, and, depending on who you ask, either the next Steph Curry or the next cautionary tale. Right now, the league doubts him. Executives whisper that he's just a showman. Analysts rank him behind guys who barely start. And fans? They're split between he's wasting his talent and get that man some help. But this is exactly where great players get written. Every star who's ever flicked their story, Steph, Giannis, Booker, hit this same wall. They all had to decide, keep proving you can score, or start proving you can win. For LaMelo, that means two things. Stay healthy, stay locked in. The talent's never been the issue. It's the discipline, the leadership, the willingness to trade mixtapes for milestones. Because eventually, flash stops fooling people. The league adjusts, and all that's left is whether you built something that lasts. The good news? LaMelo still has time. He's got a fresh contract, a fan base that believes, and a front office finally under pressure to build around him. If he commits, body, mind, ego, he could still be the guy who drags Charlotte out of basketball purgatory. But if not, he risks becoming exactly what the critics say, a highlight in someone else's dynasty montage. So the next chapter's on him. Does he chase clout or chase greatness? Because the league isn't waiting, and sooner or later, every show has to prove it can win the game. The NBA is turning on LaMelo Ball, so yeah, the league might be out on LaMelo Ball right now. But history says that's exactly when stars either crumble or evolve. We've seen this movie before. Talent gets doubted, critics get loud, and then one summer changes everything. The question isn't whether LaMelo can silence the hate, it's whether he tears enough to. Because the NBA doesn't remember who looked cool in October. It remembers who's still playing in June. Thanks for watching. If you want to see which former NBA phenom just fell out of the league entirely after one huge mistake, click right here.